Bonjour, relatives. Shangwewe Kamigo Koin Indigenous. I'm Jamie Kellicut with HIR Wellness Institute, and we are live for emotional sobriety. And I am so happy to be here again with all of you. It has been a few weeks, so I'm
Yes.
really excited. Really excited. I have our smudge going. We are going to start in a good way by giving ourselves a little bit of time. Just settle in. If you guys are at home, go ahead and get that ready. Xavier, I have some smudge for you and for all of you out there.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here. You are welcome, Xavier. Oh my gosh, Xavier, it has been a few
It's
weeks.
been a
It
few
has been a
weeks. It's
bit.
been a hot minute.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Yes.
Relatives, I am so excited to be here with you and with Xavier. John is not here with us today. His energy was pulled in another direction, and he sends you all of his love. And he is with us in spirit. He always is. He'll be back again next week. And next week is our final week, right? Is that right, Xavier?
Yes, I
We're
think so.
taking a little bit of a break. Yeah. So, emotional sobriety will be taking a little bit of a break after next week and planning some really awesome things for the summertime. Emotional sobriety will come back around, so don't you worry. We will be back and we will replay some of our favorite episodes of emotional sobriety. Relatives, for those of you who are here for the very first time, welcome. So happy that you're here with us. So happy. I am Jamie Kellicut. I am our Community Engagement and Indigenous Affairs Director with HIR Wellness Institute. I am walking in recovery. I'm walking in recovery from alcohol. I've been walking the red road for over 6 years now, and I am a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence by multiple perpetrators. And this work is a part of my life work. And so, coming here into this space really is an honor for me to be here with all of you, to share a little bit of what I do know about things. I'm still learning, we all are. And this is a safe space for us to come together, talk about healthy coping. We are going to talk a little bit from the workbook. We're going to do some reading out of the workbook that we use. And we've got other good stuff we'll do too. But before we get into that, so that's who I am in a nutshell, and I'm really happy to be here. I want to bring Xavier's voice into this space. Xavier, how are you doing? What's going on? It's Friday.
Hi. It is. It's Friday. Hello, relatives. I am Xavier Smart, community healer and counselor here at HIR Wellness Institute. So I am everywhere doing everything, as is
Yes.
everyone else, right? Sharing the leadership, as we like to say. So I enjoy coming here every Friday again. Just being able to hold this space and be in community with each and every one of you, with Jamie, with John. I know the past few weeks we haven't had Jamie, and now we don't have John, and it's like, where is everyone? It's all good. It's all good. We're out here doing the work, right, and supporting our relatives, and wherever spirit calls us, we go to and we go
Yeah.
towards. So I am appreciative of our amazing team, and the willingness and readiness to just be with our relatives. And this is one of those spaces that you will see Jamie and myself in often, as well as doing individual one-on-one therapy sessions with our relatives as well. So excited to be here as always. It is Friday. We made it. uh, and it feels good outside. I know I have a blanket on in here. You know, it's cold in the office, but outside it feels good. So,
Yeah.
ready for the weekend, definitely. So,
Yes.
mhm.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you for bringing all of that into this space. It's such a good reminder. I love hearing about the work that our staff is doing. I mean,
Mhm.
truly, it gives me a lot of joy and it fills up my heart knowing that when things call, we're there, right?
Yep.
And we have that ability to pivot and to still be able to support our relatives in this way and so many others. So, thank you for saying all that. Today is Friday, and you're right. We're here. We made it to Friday, Xavier. We
Yes,
did.
we made it.
And one of the things that why this has been so powerful for all of us is that when it comes to the end of the week, some of us who've been walking in recovery, and even if you haven't been walking in recovery, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. And so we like having this space to come together, wrap up our week, get ready for the weekend, talk a little bit about what's going on, how you feeling, how are you doing. We love to hear all that. So, relatives, if you are feeling comfortable enough at any time, please drop a comment. Xavier is watching the comments today. So, Xavier's going to be multitasking a little bit. Usually, we got three of us, right? And so,
Yes.
today, well, I guess you guys have been probably getting really used to that the last couple weeks, but
Right. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I know. But usually it's John. Like, John's all over
J-
that. He loves
th-
that. He's,
this is John. John is where John, if you are watching this, if you watch this at some point, I applaud you.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Yep, John is on it. So, and Xavier is on it too. Don't let him fool you. He's got this covered.
I got it.
You do. You do. You got this covered. So, today, what we're going to do, we always like to start with a meditation by Native American elders. So, this is the book that I found many years ago when I first started my walk into recovery. And I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but it was actually over 7 years ago when I started my walk in recovery. And I had gone a year without substances, so alcohol was my substance of choice. I had gone a year without alcohol, and Wellbriety is the first kind of like native focused recovery program, or just like a space that I could find healing. That was the first one that I found. And since then, I've found Generation Red Road, and so I've met so many beautiful people in the Native community who are walking in recovery and who have been such beautiful support systems to me. But over 7 years ago, I started my journey, and so I stayed sober for a year, and then went out one night and was with a bunch of coworkers and was having fun, and I ended up drinking, and I woke up the next day, and I remember just feeling like this sense of I suppose there was a sense of guilt and a sense of shame as well, because I was like, you went 12 months, Jamie. Oh my gosh, you did it. You were on it, and then you fell in again. And I realized since then, I was like, you know what, we're human. And so, relatives, if anybody is out there that is walking in recovery and is like, yeah, I have a couple months and then something happened, and I made a choice to, you know, pick up my substance or whatever the case is. Please be gentle with yourselves. Please be gentle with yourselves. Life is hard, right? There's a lot going on. We're in the middle of a pandemic. So I just share that with you because you're not alone, absolutely not alone, if that has been part of your story. So I went a year, I drank again, and then the very next day, I redecided that I was going to not use substances. And so, and now it's been over 6 years. And I feel very blessed. Every day I am thanking the Creator for blessing me with my family, my children, my husband, my friends, my coworkers. This is our second family here at HIR Wellness Institute. I've really Spirit has brought us all together. And I believe that for all of you relatives. So if you are here with us and you are listening and you're sitting with us right now, Spirit brought us all together. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty beautiful and pretty amazing. And that also makes me think about Cam. Every time, every time I think about all of us coming together, that's what CAM is: community activated medicine. The people are the medicine. So, years ago, Leah Denny, our CEO and founder, beautiful, amazing Indigenous woman, created that term. She coined and developed that term, community activated medicine. She knew that the healing was in when we come together. We need community. We need each other. We weren't meant to be alone. We weren't meant to just sort of stay off on our own and try to figure it out. We need each other. And it's okay to need each other. So that's what this is. This is a space for us to come together and practice CAM, to give each other some medicine. So you think about that. The people are the medicine. That means I have medicine within me, Xavier has medicine within him, and all of you have medicine within you. It's already there. We just got to tap into it. Come together, share some stories maybe, sometimes share tears together, talk about our strengths together. The people are the medicine, CAM. So with that, and I say all of that because I was just having this memory of, when I did start my journey and how Wellbriety was a part of that, a big part of that. And so I always love bringing in the meditations from this book. They always seem to just like hit right home, right at the perfect time. I don't
Mhm.
know. Spirit is always
Always,
moving,
always.
always moving, shaking, and making things happen. So today is April 23rd. And here is what our meditation is today. The real meaning of life is your family, the love that you have, the respect, the traditional ways, carrying on with them. And that is a quote by a Native elder, Ethel Wilson. And it continues to say, the family is the seed of the future. The family is the key to the transfer of cultural information. We should really take a look at how we are looking at our families. Are we treating each other, each family member, with respect? Are we passing on the traditional ways? Are we teaching them how to dance? Are we teaching the old songs? Are we participating in the ceremonies? Are we showing the family members how to pray? Are we encouraging each family member to be spiritual? Think about these things today. Creator, today, let me show respect to each family member. Family. That's a big one for me. How's that sitting with you, Xavier?
Yeah, there's a lot in there, and
Mm,
I think the first thing that pops up is this aspect that family um, can be anyone, right? And
mm-hmm.
uh, doesn't necessarily have to be those that we consider family that have the same bloodline, right? This can be uh, for for some of us out there, this can be our chosen family, right? And
Yeah,
I think that's important to acknowledge that aspect, and that, hey, within that is still a family, and that's beautiful. And that there are also teachings and wisdom and stories that can be passed down within that family. So I just think about that aspect in terms of this meditation, and then just thinking about like my own. It makes me think about my own family, right? And um, just some of those pieces, and there some of the things that were passed down, and some of the things it's like, I still have questions, or that no one knows, right? Those missing links that may have gotten lost, due to elders passing and things like that. So I think a little bit about that, and then with that, thinking about the impact of one day creating my own tribe and my own family, right? And being able to pass down teachings and stories and the knowledge that I know, so that can continue to live on in our legacy, right? Whatever you want to call it, can continue to live on. So that's kind of where my mind went in those spaces with this meditation.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Xavier.
Mhm.
Yes, I love all that. Absolutely. Family is who we want it to be, right? Who we want it. Who is the ones that are supporting us? Who's around us? That might be our family, that might be our friends, that might be neighbors. I see everyone as related, and so I look at everybody as being a part of a big family. And I too also think about my own family, my own children that I was blessed with, my husband, my we have a blended family. We have a beautiful blended family of 6 children and 2 grandchildren. So there's a lot of beautiful spirits and a lot of experiences, laughter, joy, heartache, pain, all of it, but it all matters. All of that matters. Even the tough stuff makes it even more beautiful when we're able to come together. Once we're able to start safely coming together, which is starting to happen. Some people are able to see their grandkids again and hug their family members again, and that's just beautiful. So our family. And thinking about those teachings, it also gets me to think about how I didn't grow up with a lot of the teachings. So a lot of the things that I've been learning is as an adult and talking with our elders and talking with some of my family members who do know those teachings. And I would say that it's never too late. It's never too late. We're always connected. We're always connected to spirit. Whatever that means for you. Whatever that means. Whatever that word is that you use. We're always connected. For me, I take time outside. I like to be by trees. I like to be in the woods. I like to be by water. I love to hear the birds. I love nature. So that helps me find my way back to connecting to my spirit, which helps me remember who I am, which helps me remember who my family is and who I'm connected to spiritually and who my ancestors are. So it's for me it brings up all of that. It brings up all of those pieces of like right now I'm thinking about being in the woods. That's where I would love to be. Yeah. Relatives, if you are comfortable, let us know what you think. What'd you think of that meditation? We'd love to hear it. And then if at any time, Xavier, there are some comments that pop up, just let me know. Just
Okay.
jump on in.
Yep.
What I was going to do is transition us a little bit to our workbook.
Okay.
So, relatives, when we start having support groups, when our emotional sobriety group goes private, because right now, we're live. Next season or the season after, maybe late summer sometime, we'll be having support groups, private Zooms. So, this is the workbook that we would be using, maintaining emotional sobriety during COVID-19. And this workbook was written by Tion Dayton. And we've been using this every week and talking about little pieces here and there of what's happening in this workbook. And it really is a great way to get us grounded into some topics that are really important for us to talk about. And we always love to hear from you. So you let us know at any time if there's something that's weighing on your mind, if you want to share with us. We'd love to hear it. So, Xavier, if you don't mind, I'm going to start reading a little bit.
Hmm.
and then we'll talk about it. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan. I am here for it.
Okay, awesome. So the chapter that we're on is actually chapter 7. We are talking about from trauma to emotional sobriety. That's the name of the chapter. And the chapters always start with kind of a self test. So they ask you some questions about how you're doing with your sobriety. We're not going to get into that today. Today we are going to we're going to go right into talking about trauma. So here's what our book says. One of the tragedies of trauma, if we don't go through the necessary grief process to wake up our inner world and feel what we could not feel at the time, is that we lose chunks of our own personal history. Grief is what gives those disowned parts of ourselves back to us. We feel what we could not feel, and as we do, we begin to understand ourselves. We fit the desperate, shattered pieces of self back into the full mosaic of our lives. And trauma can keep us from remembering not only what felt bad, but also what felt good. So in grieving our traumatized parts of self, we also have a chance to reclaim our joy. Trauma shuts our inner world down. Feeling is the bridge towards emotional literacy. We have to first be able to feel our feelings with enough safety so that we can find the words to identify and describe them to ourselves and others. Notice I only said enough safety, because it rarely feels entirely safe to feel these exiled emotions, this exiled self, who for protection went underground. Through this process, we learn emotional literacy. There is great freedom and mastery in this. And this kind of emotional literacy opens the door to our being able to resolve old, pain-filled, frozen, and semi-conscious material by feeling it, finding words, and allowing a new narrative of events to organically take shape within us. Not everyone responds to trauma in the same way. The complicating factor, it not only what... Wait, now, let me re-say that. The complicating factor, it not only what happens to us on the outside, but how we experience it on the inside. Some people, because of risk factors, either from childhood or the ways in which they handle emotions, may experience trauma more intensely than others. What are our pre-trauma risk factors? How do they impact how we experience trauma? What are the buffering elements that do or do not exist in our lives that will ameliorate the way we're experiencing unusual stress, like reliable relationships, comfortable living situations, jobs, money, food, or support communities? And what attitudes are we able to summon that might help us to make a bad situation better? Trauma. We got to feel the feels.
Feel the feels. Got to get
We
a
say
shirt that
that a lot
says
here,
"Feel
don't
the
we?
feels." Yeah,
I love it. Feel the feels. All in the feelings.
all in it.
We're going to lean in to what we're feeling. That's what this whole section reminds me of. It's like that reminder of, okay, let's break it down. Let's break it down right now. So we've had an experience and it was very traumatic. And in order to get over that hump, to get us back up that hill and then over so that we're back in to feeling joy again, we got to kind of face it a little bit and feel it. And I love how she says, let me bring it back. So in grieving our traumatized parts of self, we also have a chance to reclaim our joy. Oh my gosh. I'm loving that. And you know what, relatives? I did not know that for a very long time. So I want to remind all of you to be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle. We are all walking a healing journey, and we are all at a different place in our journey, and that is okay. I want to say that again. We are all walking a healing journey. We are all at a different place on that healing journey, and it is okay. It is okay. So, whatever that means for you today, whatever you can take, whatever you can handle today, that's okay. We can talk about what are some of those small things that you can do today to handle whatever those experiences are that you want to grieve, whatever those parts of yourself that you want to grieve about because there was pain. We don't have to do all of it, not at one time, right? We can take our time. It took me a lot of years to walk to a point where I felt like I'm really okay with leaning into being uncomfortable. Like today, I can say that. Today,
Yeah.
I can say I'm truly okay with leaning into being uncomfortable because there are days where my insides get a little squirrely and they start to feel like I'm a little scared. I'm not sure. I'm okay with leaning into that. Now, I was not always. I was not always. I was a runner. I was like, look, and I don't mean runner because like I like to run because I don't, and I don't run. Okay, let's make that clear. I mean, I would get scared or something would trigger me and I would feel upset or I'd be angry instantly and I'd be like, I need to leave. I need to get away. I don't know what this is. Nope, want none of it. None of it. So it took me a long time practicing slowing down, learning how to grieve pieces of myself that were hurt, how to be able to allow myself to feel being hurt, to cry about it, to release those feelings that I was have that were like so pent up and balled up inside of me and pushed down. It took time, patience, a lot of self-love. Even when I wasn't feeling like loving myself, it took support. It took me finding people around me that supported me and loved me for who I was, who I am. That allowed me enough safety
Mhm.
to start to heal. It wasn't that I had the best ever safety experience, if that's making sense. Because, you know, we always have this like kind of sense in our, like something in us that is like, I'm a little nervous about that. And so it causes us to be like, well, are we sure this is truly a safe enough place? So once there was enough safety in my life, I was able to start to release, start to release things that were holding me back, that were causing me pain, that were causing me to feel bad. Xavier, I would
Mhm.
love to hear what you are thinking. I'd love to hear. Can you bring your voice into this space?
Always. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing. Yeah, safety is number one, right on the list of things needed when working through some of that pain and that hurt. Because if we don't feel safe, it's like I'm not gonna deal with this, right? I'm just gonna keep on keep it on. Um,
Mhm.
and even the book, right? That was one of the first things that it talked about, being able to create safety, um, around this time period and things like that. So, that importance being placed on creating safety, because when we think about our and experiences and the ones that are most painful, there often is that lack of safety, right? We don't feel safe. We weren't in a safe environment. We didn't feel safe in our bodies, right? Whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So, it almost makes sense that in order to push through it, in order to get through to the other side, right, we need that sense of safety, that sense of, all right, we can feel this a little bit. It's uncomfortable, right? But let's feel it. And through working through it and tapping into those people, those techniques, breathing, whatever it may be, it allows us to have that safety just enough, right? Like it said, just enough so we're able to articulate, put a word to it, to whatever it may be. Because again, if there's no safety, there's no way that I can say like, yeah, I'm feeling scared, or I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling fill in the blank. So it makes sense. And um it can be scary. It can be scary. I just want to talk about the realness of it can be
Yes.
absolutely terrifying to begin unpacking things. Um it's it's scary. And I just want to say, relatives, listen, I get it. I'm sure Jamie gets it. We have all been
Yes.
there. But ultimately, our spirits are wanting us to, right? When we feel that constant pull of like, like just heaviness, right? Our spirit is asking us to pay attention to it and uh give it some love, friend it, so that we can then really begin to shed those pieces and those layers of ourselves so that we can fully um, step into our beautifulness of being a butterfly, and letting our wings and our light just shine. So again, that aspect of um, doing that work and really unpacking stuff is the most terrifying thing ever. But once you jump, the jump begins to be a little bit easier each time, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing, because you begin to realize that, hey, there's safety. There was people there to support me. I have these tools that I can use to bring me back down, to feel grounded, to feel safe in my body. I have, my ancestors. I have my spirit guides, angels, whoever it may be, um, the creator, right, supporting me through this. And again, before we can even get to understanding or get to that space, it truly, truly is about how can we create safety, and uh, how can we create safety within ourselves so that we can begin to even fathom and put words to the things that we're feeling. So yeah, I know it was might have been a mouthful, but those were the words, the thoughts that spirits like let them out. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful. Um, yeah, that whole safety piece, just thinking back on my journey, when I can very distinctly recall knowing that I wasn't safe to like truly be who I was, knowing that I
Mm,
couldn't be me many years ago, many, many years ago. And I think back to my use of alcohol, and it was like all a way to just cope and cover up the real feelings that I was having. Not, and just being so terrified that if I allowed those feelings to come up, what does that mean? What's going to happen? I have no idea. And then what I found out over time, when I was in a space where I was feeling enough safety to be able to start releasing, that beautiful things happened. That there was a weight that was lifted, that there was clarity, that I found myself connecting to my spirit for the first time in a really long time,
mhm,
probably since I was a kid. I can remember very distinctively being very connected as a child to my spirit, but then that was hurt and felt pain, and then that went away for a really long time. Really long time. I second guessed myself so much and got myself into a lot of bad situations because I wasn't listening, because I wasn't paying attention to what is my body telling me, what is my spirit telling me. And now that I am much farther along for myself, I'm just thinking of my own journey, on my healing journey, that I'm able to hear. I'm able to really hear what is my spirit telling me. And it's because I grieved. It's because I allowed myself to grieve the pain, to grieve the trauma. And you know what? This is a lifelong journey. I'm not done. I'm not done. Just last weekend, I went through a very intensive training with our CEO and founder, Leah Denny, and went through an amazingly intense healing experience, something I've never experienced in my life, and was able to, I can 1,000,000% say that I experienced intergenerational healing last weekend. And it was the most amazing thing that I've ever had happen. A couple years ago, I might have been terrified to try something like that. I might have been like, looking like, I don't know what y'all want to do, but that's not going to be me.
Said, I'm out. I'm out.
We got to laugh, relatives. We have to laugh. That is a part
Yes.
of our medicine, is laughter.
Mm.
I share some of these experiences that I've been through in hopes that it will help you in some way, shape, or form. I hope that it will bring you some peace. I hope that you'll laugh a little bit with us and have some fun and remember the joy again. There's a lot of pain and there's a lot of hurt and there is a lot of, my goodness, there's so much pain, so much happening in our society, in our world right now as we speak. And sometimes we really need our hearts and spirits to come together and just have some joy for a little while. And this is another space for that. So as we are talking about emotional sobriety, as we are learning about how do we grieve our trauma, what does that look like and feel like, we can still laugh and have joy with one another. I would like, if you don't mind, Xavier, do you mind if I read a little more? Because there is some good stuff coming up on the next page of this workbook. And I thought it might be good just to give a little bit and we'll talk a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll try. We always try it. We try to talk a little.
We try. Yes.
But we just get into it, everybody. We get into it.
We
it's
do.
like we start thinking, we start remembering stuff. And we're like, ooh. And then spirit jumps on board and is like, no, you're going to say this too.
I love it. Absolutely.
I swear there's a reason that I want to do this. I swear there is. So here's what the next section is called. It says, what do we mean by pre-trauma risk factors? Pre-trauma risk factors are personality traits, family or social conditions, and or high-risk behaviors that can put one in a higher risk category for developing PTSD. According to the PTSD Alliance, the following are pre-trauma risk factors that can make one more likely to develop PTSD. The level of severe trauma experienced during and since early childhood. Family instability, lack of a social support system, or poverty. Women are twice as likely to develop PTSD than men. Having a pre-existing emotional or mental health disorder, eating disorder, or drug and alcohol misuse. Some common pre-trauma risk factors are previous exposure to trauma. So something for us to think about, relatives, is what is our trauma history? Did we ever grow up with any adverse childhood experiences or traumatic experiences in which we experienced that made us feel helpless or in horror. Coping styles. So how have we learned to adapt to traumatic experiences? What kind of coping do we do right now? How did we see, or how did you see those who raised you adapt, and what did you see modeled? So remember, we're always like, our brain is always on. So we're paying attention to what we're seeing around us. So what was the behavior like that was modeled for us? And then it causes us to think about, what kind of behavior are we modeling now? So just some things to think about. Emotional or mental health issues. So what is our previous history of mental health problems that might influence how we experience this current crisis? Consumption of substances. Are you self-medicating to manage your uncomfortable feelings, and to what extent? What is your level of alcohol use that will make you less able to cope effectively with this current crisis? So we bring up that because truly using a substance, so drinking alcohol, is a coping. It might not be healthy, but it's a coping mechanism. I spoke earlier and shared a little bit about my experience in that I know for a fact that drinking was a way to just numb out whatever I was feeling. It was a way to sort of get rid of the uncomfortable feelings. And I want to remind us, relatives, again, that not everybody's at the same space on their healing journey, and that's okay. You know? It is also like the pre-trauma risk factors, Xavier. You know what else it makes me think about? It makes me think about how sometimes we think we're surrounding ourselves with healthy people, but it may not be so.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of intergenerational and historical trauma, right? And not everybody follow, like, what am I trying to say? Like, what's the words I'm looking for? So, like, not everybody may be at as, I guess, far along on their healing journey as some might think, right? Because we never really know what's going on in others' lives. And so I always just sort of stay aware. I pay attention to that. And what I mean by paying attention to that is I pay attention to what my spirit is telling me. I pay attention to what my gut is saying. There was a long time that I didn't. And I would run in circles that like just ended up hurting me more, if that makes sense. You know, I thought I was going to be around people that would help me, and it ended up hurting me more. And that's a part of that pre-trauma risk factors. Not everybody's at the same space, and that's totally okay. We just have to be aware for ourselves so that we can keep ourselves protected if need be, and to make different choices if need be. You know, I'm a big, lately I feel like I've been saying that we can love people from afar. I'm all about the love, y'all. I'm going to give you all love. I'm giving every single one of you love. Love and peace, joy, kindness, empathy, compassion, laughter, all of it. I'm all about the love. Sometimes we have to love from afar. So that's about creating boundaries. That's about how do we keep our spirit safe as we're walking in recovery. Recovery from, maybe it's substances. Recovery from, maybe it's a traumatic event. Recovery from XYZ. It could be whatever that is. Recovery doesn't have to just mean that you're recovering from a substance misuse. There's many things that we can be recovering from. And while we're doing that, we do want to be able to have some safety, create enough safety so that we can get to the point where we're grieving our trauma, so that we can release it, so that we can start remembering the joy and start filling ourselves back up with joy and goodness again. I hope that made sense. Xavier, how are you feeling? Was I making sense?
Yes,
I
always.
probably caught you in the middle of a comment.
That's so there's so you know there's no comments, but I remember Malia saying that she's been having difficulty like seeing comments. So I'm not sure if we're having that same
Yeah.
issue. It's all good. Still
Sure.
commenting. So if you're out there, relatives, and you are
Right.
commenting, we're not able to see it for whatever reason, but we see you, and thank you for sharing.
We do.
Um,
We do. Yeah.
but yeah, so yes, you were absolutely making sense. Um, Something that popped up for me as you were reading the priest's trauma risk factors is
Yeah.
ultimately, the stigma around, I guess, trauma. And a lot of our communities, uh, we're like, what is trauma? Right. So it's for many communities, right?
Mm.
It is this aspect of this is just life. Like this is just the way it is. Like this is the neighborhood we're in. This is just the
Right.
experience that we have. Like this is life, and there is no
Mhm.
trauma, right? And this is just how we deal with things. This is so I just thought about that, as you were talking, and
Mm.
just the importance of being able to continue to get the information to our relatives that don't get the opportunity to learn, that don't have the words, the understanding, right, of how their life experiences are truly affecting their spirits and them as a whole, right? And yeah, so that's where my mind went with this aspect of like, yeah, like, for some people they're like, yo, this is just my life. Like this isn't trauma. Like this is just
Right.
what we go through. This is just what we experience. This is just how, I deal with it. Mom's a drunk, dad's a druggie. Like this is, those are things that
Mhm.
people just kind of say, hey, this is
Mhm.
just my life. And um, I just want to say that our experiences really they do shape us, right, and mold us, and can put in a way that in a way that we view ourselves, the world, in certain ways. So again, being able to, I'm glad and humbly appreciative and honored that we are able to provide services for free to our communities of
Mm.
color, our indigenous communities, Hispanic, our Black communities, in a way that they can get this information, right? And I just think it's just so beautiful because, again, like even for me growing up, there was no talk about mental health or this or that, right? And it wasn't until for me I got to college where I'm like, oh, like psychology, what is that? And then this curiosity of wanting to understand myself better, but also wanting to understand people, and then learning more and more. And I'm like, wow, like there is a lot, like and then you sit back and you look at your family and you're like, ooh, so some stuff going on over there, right? And
Right.
it's yeah, so it's again one of those things that isn't often talked about or taught or brought up in many communities because it's like, oh, this is just life, and this is the experience that we have, and you just got to keep pushing forward and make do of what's out there, and try your best. So um yeah, that's where my mind and head and thoughts went. And
Mm.
um yeah, and yeah, so much. It's so much. And
There
then
is so much. There's
there's
so
so
much to this
much.
topic.
Yeah, and then you think about just the impact, right, of again historical trauma and um those aspects of as well, and how that can be a pre-trauma risk as well, right? And our ancestors that came before us, some of them had endured um slavery, boarding schools, fill in the blank, loss of culture, and just the impact that has had on us in this present day, right? Because that's may have taken away from you know our coping strategies and how we do cope with stress, right? For um, you know, I, I'm sure in many of our indigenous ways, we leaned on culture as a coping style, right? As a way to deal with a lot of things that are going on and that we're experiencing, and um, that was taken away by colonization and just so many different things. So I think about that and the impact that you know that has had as well. So yeah, so much, so much.
Hmm. Thank you, Xavier. You're right. This is a deep topic, and it's one that deserves a whole lot of space. And we're just giving it a small space right now, right? Because I mean, we're talking. This is a topic that's connected to. Yes, we're talking about the mental health piece and how can we help ourselves,
Yeah.
and how can we help our community as far as coming together for healing. But there is so much connected to this, so much that is deep with policy and systems and things that we are not going to be able to get into in this platform. But absolutely, like, this is such a deep, deep topic. And what our goal and what our hope is that through us talking about it here in on this platform in this way, that we're able to learn some new strategies, that we're able to hear something that either Xavier says or myself or John, and that relatives are able to connect to it and say, oh, yeah, maybe I didn't think of it that way. Or I always thought that that's what I was feeling. Now I understand a little bit more. So the goal for us is to see more healing, more community healing. That's what we're working on right now. We're trying to destigmatize mental health. There shouldn't be no shame in saying that you feel bad, that you feel sad, depressed, anxious, that you struggle with using substances, that you struggle in any other way. There's no shame in that. There's no judgment in that. We all have a story. We all have a sacred story. We don't have the same exact experiences, but we've all experienced something. And many of us have a long line of ancestors who've experienced a lot that has made its way to the generations that we're in now. And the hope is that as we start to heal ourselves and we start to heal our communities, we see this collective healing where we are stopping cycles that have been harmful for us. I'm having a reminder right now that we are the answer to our ancestors' prayers. They prayed for us, and we're here. Every one of us. Xavier, you were prayed for. I was prayed for. Relatives, all of you were prayed for. And here we are. That's pretty amazing. I feel like that's a good point to wrap up on. We're all here, beautiful and resilient. We have a lot of strength within us, and there's a lot of really good medicine within us. Xavier, as we come to a close, do you have any final thoughts for our relatives? Any final
Mm,
words?
thank you, Jamie, for beautiful, beautiful words. Yes, relatives, you truly are the answers to your ancestors' prayers, and so grateful as always that you all are able to tune in, whether it be for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or the whole, I don't know, hour, however long we're here. I don't know. Time it just goes. But
Mhm.
we're so grateful that you all are able to just be with us, be in this community, be in this space. Again, unpacking and being able to examine some of those darkest areas and experiences in our lives can be scary, right? We may think about what will other people think about us, how will people view me, how will family, friends, right? Because I know for me that's been something, right, that has popped up, like, hey, if I explore this, how am I going to change, how is the people around me going to change, am I going to lose people, all these different things, right? And that's normal, 100% normal, 100%, I would say, a part of the process, right? And being able to lean into it, right? Again, when you can find that safety, when you find that you are gravitating and leaning towards things that you're like, my spirit's telling me to tune into this emotional sobriety. I don't know what this is, but let's check it out, right? Um, and you listen to the words, you listen to the elder meditation, you listen to what we're talking about, and there may be some things that resonate with you, right? And you'll know exactly what that is because you'll feel it,
Mhm.
and you'll be like, ooh, I felt that, right? And pay attention to that, allow yourself to listen to it, lean into it, um, because your spirit's talking to you. It wants you to know something, it wants you to heal from something. And again, although it may be uncomfortable, it will bring you one step closer to joy, to the happiness, to the peace that you deserve to feel within your body, because you truly deserve to feel peace. You deserve to feel joy. You deserve to feel loved. You deserve to feel loved, um, within yourself, within your body. And, again, relatives, be kind to yourselves, be gentle. Again, it's a lifelong journey, this idea and this aspect of healing, right? It's lifelong, because again, we're spirit beings having a human experience, and um, ultimately everything is helping us and guiding us into being fully spirit. So those are my final words, and I thank you all as always for being here.
Thank you, Xavier. That was wonderful and beautiful. Relatives, we will be back next week Friday about 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on our Facebook Live page for HIR Wellness Institute. It is a real honor to be here with all of you, to walk this journey with you, to be able to share some of our knowledge, the little bit that we do have. We're still students. We're still learning in this game of life. We're still learning. And we're all walking a healing journey. You're not alone. I have a quote. My teas always have quotes on them, and I love my tea and I love my quotes. So we're ending on a quote. And it says, walk beautifully, talk beautifully, live beautifully. Relatives, you are all beautiful. And sending you so much love. You're worthy. You are enough. And we'll see you next week, Friday. Giga Wubman.